First and foremost, you don't tell her come where. Say, I don't come back to me. Firstly, I want to tell you now, plenty thank you. Because some man from who start this press conference, they are. You know, it's you constantly, some face and name. Anytime you can, see them. So, we don't try. And see? If you're not interested in anything, you're not going to sustain this kind of participation. And we back, now we're going for call this press conference. If we can't, nobody knows to here. We're not going to sit here. A proposal. When they said that cabinet, the review. Yeah? But really, I want to appreciate we all when you carry. And as an administration, it will also show the importance we attach to UNA as the only conduit through which government is able to pass message to the people. Without UNA, we're not going to be able to take the message to the people that we want to talk to. I make we call on there. So if finder will define this purpose, why would it care? Not to for just can sign for that small thing and go. Because we believe, say, whatever thing we want to talk to people, not only when we will carry. And we also want to narrow the space for rumor, disinformation and misinformation by bringing relevant stakeholders that talk on trending issues so that the correct information gets out. Now that is what we're able to do. For pass on correct information to you. How you go reporter? You're left to your conscience. How you go talker? It's up to you. But we only all know this salon, a big pass we all. And a salon we deserve. So, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome you formally to today's edition of the usual press briefing. Usai will bring the media face to face with duty bearers. They talk to una, they will get the opportunity for ask the questions when the one that we know they are. Go and ask. Because some questions we can ask, you already know the answer. But you want to talk and let Omaye for tomorrow, eh? So I tell you, let's thank you. Today, there are very prominent things that we can talk on. Very prominent and relevant issues. When you want the phases, we don't vote in hand. You know, say, we mean business. But let's start with the usual updates. Okay, thank you very much. You like me business. I saw somebody put it perfect. Said the way I see that my editor. Where are with you? He said, I'm not my fight. So he still continue to give me courage. For today, the update. I will start with the minister, Leone. Yes? Thank you very much. So, man, in the way you don't die, now you tell me talk good about you. But the minister left alive because of the good work we do, because of this thing we do, for help, for broadening the coverage, the civic engagement. People recognize her. And what we call the Bible Service Delivery Award. Everybody they want you pin based on what they do, the service where they deliver, they recognize you. Even though the minister not be present, But they talk fine. So they get this award because of a young contribution, what they do for deliver on the mandate of the power we elect. Every ministry where they create their purpose. You where they appoint that ministry, now they make people know the worth of that ministry. And I believe say the minister and his team will don't do very well. So recognition of the minister and a recognition for the ministry. So I appreciate you and them when they give this Bible service award, service delivery award for recognize the minister. Also, the health minister, Dr. Austin Denby, with the country representative of the World Health Organization and the Food Agricultural Organization, we go meet the president for briefer because Salon win $20 million from the pandemic fund because of all the things that we do in the health sector. That's more money where they put for the country the benefit for able health, pandemic, preparedness. Who back with able gets more thing. That 20 million where they allocate us we are doing. The minister concerned and lead the team for them go brief the president on that kind of goodness in between. Again, there's the Ministry of Communication, Technology and Innovation. We don't sign some party business with prominent organizations. Waiting this party business for, now for them to make sure say we universities get internet connectivity. All man I use small what I do. You have to one just talk say nothing not happen. We learn before now. We the research. Now book we old for the grandpa now they read. They take jotting. Now internet connectivity. Now we universities. They don't even pilot. Now when you go for big college, say the 31st, now free internet service. You are not be so. Yeah, eh? And it did. No, come up later. But it did. Eh? You want to know it not be there, but it did now. Again, DSTI, the Directorate for Science, Technology and Innovation. They don't couple all the syllabus from the early childhood education to SS3. That syllabus now, they say it in an internet now. Now the learning passport platform. So if you go to that platform, all the syllabus, you're able to get access to it. And also the post clap. And also we try. Then say again, the president will also receive a high-level delegation from the ECOWAS Human Capital Development Program, led by Mr. Robin Johnson. Then come and go meet the Minister of Planning and Economic Development for look at waiting our achievement when it comes to the human capital development. When President Bill become, he said, if they put more emphasis not on the resources of Sierra Leone, the diamond will not be fed for. It's like the human capital now they develop. So those initiatives will be put together, will be implemented. They attract other people there now, and they can watch what will we do and how we do it. A very small country of less than 8 million, they do something, others they learn from, that they can't see. Based on what you see, something it will attract funding for law to do more. But then the first thing, I for let the minister take them through what we've done so far in education, in the health sector, based on what we are doing of the president. The president has some of in waka like what people say, hey, fly. You want about money not again. Everybody knows that the way the situation will go, there is already what we go throughout Europe, America. In fact, there are some people in where they hide in we talk about barefoot. It's only give money in. So some of them money already shape. You president, you sit down, like same Peking. Where is our president come here? And president the balance nobody understands it. So if you don't let it about the Senate, there's a president a pass on. Like minister, they need to get a place for pass. So if I need daily, where the shape gets, I mean the president can do, then what carry. I say it go land from within the happen in terms of agriculture, like Ibadan. Because when you say feed salon, you have to look at what people they don't do, how they do them, and get the best practices and implement them. So you see, the buy itself, you know, some possible, you go for Golan. We also see inside the Ministry of Gender and Children's Affairs commemorate the International Women's Day. But for people then, including the Vice President, we did it for honor that day. We get reason for celebrate that day because we don't do tremendous efforts for narrow the gap between man and woman in the competition. If we don't able to get 30% representation across board in parliament, in cabinet, in other positions, then we get right for celebrating that particular day. Because what it stands for, like the president try to achieve. But putting apple, but I will just pray to say to those two things. Ladies and gentlemen, today panel, they bring to you what they are called the purpose of existence. Like why we can here? First and foremost, you need to define why I need for this separate press conference. Is it really relevant to me? If you're not getting nothing for candle at the press conference, then it better let you use the time, power activity, because I say time and money. So when the president creates ministries, and on purpose, the way it divulge communication from information and add civic education. Meaning, we need as a Minister of Information and Civic Education for expand with civic engagement, for open space, for engage more, for let the message reach at the last mile. That means you put communication, it brings civic education. For let me tell the Israelis, who am I? What to make you Israeli? So when the president gets a second opportunity in 2023, one of the ministries we really pay attention to, like the one with the Ministry of Public Administration and Political Affairs. Because in five game changers, again what you call revamping the public administration or public sector. So, a gentleman was appointed to that ministry. And one of the mandates where he gets, and for them to see how our public sector, when I talk about public sector, and look at why we really need for look at the public sector, just put Siratel against Orange, or Africell. Take national insurance company, which are against other insurance companies. Anyone with a Sigatel or national, compared to others, then you will see why we will pay attention to our public sector. So for today's panel, we have a minister charged with that responsibility. So we're going to talk to the Honorable Minister of Public Affairs, of Public Administration and Political Affairs, Honorable Amara Kalon, for let me tell you, from when they appointed her as minister to date, how far in accomplishing the purpose of that ministry. Second, we get the Director General for the Human Resources Management Office of this country, with our Director General, Azu Toka. In presence now, for the first time, after many years, the country don't review the Civil Service Code of Conduct. We always say that we just say the Civil Service Code of Conduct. In fact, I am guided by the Civil Service Code of Conduct. Most of you never say. Now they say they don't review. What is in there? What do we expect from the new Civil Service Code of Conduct? We'll get a presentation from the Director General. Then, the Deputy Director General also, as a woman, Deputy Director as a woman now, Madam Dima, that name out to go tell me, in as a woman, waiting in and incompetent for expect in this new Civil Service Code of Conduct. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, to kickstart proper, one always think I won't go in time. You know, responsible, study. We don't want to let them style. The thing and so then the flow for our ball. His Excellency, to this platform, I want to explain to these conduits and a cable message. As the minister, how far have you gone to meet the expectations of HE in revamping the public sector? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Sheikh Hafiz Mufti. Holding a cabinet now too. And it's how they say ministers then, what they say, what they call like, I think second imam, so I'm not sister. Ramadan Kareem, happy death season to the brother and sisters there. So much has not happened during the period of that review since August 17, 2023, where His Excellency the President deemed it necessary for establish the Ministry of Public Administration and Political Affairs by extending the mandate of the Ministry of Political and Public Affairs. The first thing we do as a ministry now for demystify or people understand what this public administration is all about. Yeah. So we want to let people that know what is there inside this public administration. So we get an international conference. We bring countries that we don't do reforms. Kenya, the Egypt, South Africa, all the way Ghana. We bring them down. They all can discuss about this reforms. And from that conference, then we will define the agenda before going to the strategic roadmap. And I'm happy for Toknaya saying, Mr. Minister, that we now get a strategic roadmap. We now define how we carry out this reform. And many times I don't get media people knowing I'm in office. Mr. Minister, we want to say anything here. The question here is what we ask yourself. The Ministry of Public Administration and the reform of the public service is not something where it is not tangible. I think that we don't see. I think first of all, I clear that Mr. Minister, that I think that we don't see the outcome. You will see the output. For example, we have civil service codes. We have not reviewed. This is the one. You will see it because it's an output. We have reviewed it. It has now been presented. But the outcome of this, you know, is see physically. Because that behavioral pattern is how people behave. Now in this document, they try to talk around. So now people say they go to the hospital, people they see the hospital and see where you give injection to people, then you see the medicine, then you see the doctor, then you see people that they wear. No, that's not how it works. So you put at school, you put beginning at school, you put teacher that day, and you see beginning they go class 1, class 2, class 3, then you see them go university, and they get money, they bills as the outcome. No, that's not how it is. The reform, public service, the reform is about mindset, and people in mindset and a change, behavioral pattern. Now I talk about the reform of the public service. So the national transformative strategy give me 8 pillars. What they look at, what believe see. When we do a scoping mission for understanding at the status quo of the public service of Sierra Leone, we come up with those 8 recommendations as a solution, not a complete solution, but a solution we will lead with for them to get a public service in Sierra Leone where will be answerable to the needs and aspirations of the people. So one of the pillars are the institutional restructuring. We ask ourselves the question, do we really get, all the institutions will get about 150 or something, government institutions, are they really relevant? They're really relevant to the development agenda of Sierra Leone. We see a lot of institutions that get conflicting mandate, responsibilities. You see that in 2-3 institutions, they do the same thing, we collect money from the same government cover. So it's wastage. So we say that we do organizational structure. So we therefore do an institutional assessment and look at those MDAs there and look down when they get conflicting mandates and make recommendations for rationalization. So meaning we therefore repeat, so we say, okay, this one and 2, let them go first. Let we left this one, let him do this one, bring, we'll put them 3 and they do. Or can we match this other and then put them together, let them be one? So that we will create value for money. But also therefore do with the policy environment. Most of the acts and the policy will they develop and they give that problem. And the last step within a cabinet where this trouble comes between NACID and NCD. Yes, we get small problem. And if you look NACID their act, you look NCD their act, they're almost not the same. Not the same. So we have to look at whether we have to match them and make them one. Because you cannot have the 2 of them doing the same thing with the same policy, with the same act, doing the same thing, taking money from the cover. So we either repeal one or we match them. The same thing, there are a lot of institutions that get them problem. The second to so okay, look at human resource management, we call that the Director General Sidonaya. How do we manage human resource of this country? In terms of recruitment, or the need for recruitment right up to the exit strategy when somebody got retirement. How we onboard or recruit people them, how they onboard them into the system, how they promote them, how they transfer them, which are the competencies they will look for transfers for promotion, how we for say this person don't look for retirement and all the rest of it. We therefore look at those human resource management processes and systems and do a thorough review, and one of the 2 therefore do not digitalize them so that people they have access and understand what they have. The other one pillar what we look at, we say they look at capacity building. If you look at the job family, the different job families in the public service, you look at the teacher, you look at the health service, you look at the security, you look at the judiciary, you look at the legislative, we don't get capacity. There is no capacity. So if you find out, say, people then they put their effort, but we always limit ourselves to the British system where they be left giving. Take it in at the same HR system, take it in at the same teacher curriculum we develop, take it, they will not shift it. For say, they'll look at the global market and look at how we prepare our citizens them at the university level for them to challenge and compete at the international global market. We still believe in them courses, then they will believe in traditional courses the way the British then they're giving. So we say, okay, let's look at those job families and make sure so we build capacity along with them based on the needs and aspirations. So we therefore we director now, therefore they talk about how do we do with scaling. If we get too much people who do on HR, how can we shift them? That will bring them to accountant. If we get too many accountants in the civil service, that will take some, when they go train them, when they go into different professions then, rather keep thousands of people in there as accountants who they not get job for you. But therefore, they also upskilling. The one they way then at first level, that will make when they go to second level. So I don't get BSc in accounting. But the professional courses in accounting, they will do a matter. So we get for them training. That's why we transform the civil service training college to the public service academy. So we create so that we create a bigger environment where we will bring everybody on board and build capacity along the way. We are also looking at e-governance. The world of global technology will drive technology service delivery now. Do we? I need for Sidon, I need for Komotna Peninsula for good immigration for get me passport. We already don't get with civil register, don't get with NIN number. No, I need to get an app where I can apply for me passport. I pay online. Then they can deliver the passport to my house. That's why we have the post office. How do we transform the post office into a new system? Let's not again, let's not go to the post office. So post office almost not closed. But there's a new way we will create what DHL will do. Recalibrate the post office and put it in a way where they provide me passports, they produce me passports, then we will send them through the post office and deliver them from in my house. If I didn't make Kabbalah, I can go to the post office, they get digital system, I can use the portal if I'm not able to my phone, they help me to apply for me passport. And when the passport guy go back, then they send them for me and use a small thing. So this is what they talk about e-government, but also how do we manage the public service itself. For recruitment, we still there forget these people for apply for 10 people. They have that PSC for beta. I don't see Bokuma don't feel like I have a we still for continue for field PSC for 8. No, let's go online. Let's go online and develop the recruitment system. Where if somebody to go there, you know, you're not going to talk to nobody. Now what you know and not what that you go there. And if you don't get a job, you don't say that because you don't get the competency and you don't meet the criteria. And I'm proud for telling you that say we already don't get the prototype of the digital system. We call that the government of Sierra Leone HR up. And as I talk to you so now, the ministry get the first phase for do the recruitment and do the terms of reference and contract with the company wait for establish this HR hub. Then we transfer the responsibility to the HRM now. For them we do the entire HR system, including the payroll, if it's everything you can say one quarter. So if even your attendance now is going to be thumbprint. So you know you go sign a paper again. For say we 10 go to now, we'll say 829, 829, 829, 829, 829. Because now we put 830 for say at the time now. But now na thumbprint. As you put it thumbprint and not register, if you get out of the office, it tells you you're out of the office. I don't allow you for any kind of sign. You understand? So this is going on. But also the media. How do we take everybody along with citizens? With all this what we want to do, we therefore carry the people them along with you. We therefore communicate to them, we therefore talk to the people. Because the people therefore understand what will they do, how will they do and how they for benefit for them. So one of the pillars in media relation, take the people along, engage the media, make sure to develop a knowledge bank. We are in order to therefore doing this reform, therefore this on side 10, 15, 20, 30 years, students that will come and go into that portal there and able to access the information there or the data there, document they will be used for reform the public service of this country. So that again for the also. We also look at gender and social inclusion. Very, very important. We just talk and then we bring with sister there. For they can talk, waiting at the good things that we inside this document for the woman. It was deliberate that we review this. Because the Gender Act now is a full section there about the implementation. So we don't need to talk about that. But now, even the recruitment process, with now the discussion for beginning, can we need a safe space for women, or do we need to give a point to women there in when we do the assessment? So we have to look at all the things then. So these are the pillars that we look. As a ministry, we also don't do institutional assessment of the HRM, the PSC, the PSRU, and the ministry itself for know if they get the capacity for do these reforms. And we don't make recommendations. And by God in power, UNDP is going to support us with other institutions for strengthening their institution they have, let them get the capacity for deliver on the reforms they want to do. We also we don't review the IPAS. This IPAS, now they use for assess people there and know if the things they wait for you for the year, you really meet them. We don't review them, we don't make the don't do the validation. We go into now for develop a policy
on how we for implement them and make sure say anybody when they go through that iPass day, you will not say you do them the way you for do them. And finally, as a ministry, the transformation of the ministry is very critical. And they invite you now, all the ministry, go see the new changes to that. You know, so chair they don't pass 20 years. we don't begin with a small, and when you go there, you will see the transformation in technology, you know, in the ministry, and now the ministry don't reposition for that. Finally, we get the steering committee. The steering committee of the public sector reform, and then be responsible for monitor the reforms. But over 13 years, they don't go dormant. We don't resuscitate them, we don't activate them. Now, all management and functional review, we're going to end this there. The goal of that particular committee day for them to provide them advice, and also make sure that any tool going to that document is in compliance with the Civil Service Code and all other documents. So that we don't do right now, that we'll continue for talk on what we need to for you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Sir. He says, Salomon Sabi talk. Now he talks so. The minister he talk. Seriously, he says, Salomon Sabi talk. Tell the minister plenty thank you for take time for lay there to we. Waiting, he don't need to. And all this, not going to do anything that we can't with me and you. Not embrace change. The most difficult thing, even Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, I tell you, me na the Imam. He said the last jihad will be jihad nafs. You check yourself. You know what you have to do wrong. You accept change. If we not choose for change as Sierra Leoneans, Almighty Allah said, you know they change any nation until you're ready for change. When I get the opportunity at China, they go through the public service administration. You know one can serve. You talk to yourself, is this possible in my country? For this all, whether I highlight so, is it possible? Yes, it is possible. Just with the mindset. See, we all don't define say, now so will they go. For instance, in recruitment at China, public service, where they don't do all things. You don't sit exam, you don't go interview. For let us select the candidates, and they put on the media that Bokari Bawo, Amara Kalo, we want 2 people for a position. Now then 2 people that now. Out of these 2 people, we want 1. Then they seek public opinion. Even if you jog somebody in cake, na primary school, it come against you. When Amara cannot get, na knock-off point. So many from where they're born you, say you go, you remind what you do. If me and minister, they work, me young picking they out of the country, straight off, then they hibernate me own promotion. As long as you begin out of the country, the person way you picking the in country, in deserve the country in opportunity more than him. So you know they get promotion again. They're not stopping for sending people outside the country, but the country back they limit you. And anytime you have found one thing for anything, whether you pay now, you not pay, you know they ever use private vehicle. You begin a woman, you always a public vehicle that they use. So they limit you and they subject you to remorse. You say you must say they don't say you don't do bad. And in China, you papa na you want get a bomb. You na you want get papa bomb. You grandpa na you want get a bomb. Because they're not being allowed for bomb too. So now you want to pick away your bomb. For in future, you therefore take time when you're in a public office. I shared a platform with a civil society, somebody. It's a government for do business. Because government not sabi do business. But even when you ask the private sector, people who do business there. Now Sierra Leoneans, they employ. Like the government employs Sierra Leoneans. You go say that tell Sierra Leoneans a lady. African orange, Christian, Sierra Leoneans a lady. But what is the difference? When somebody they work for in country and when they work for people, yes, that attitude. The day we change that, perhaps it will be good for us. A whole secretariat was created. Attitude and behavioral change secretariat. The bastard with small white hair. Take it down, a hair all white. We didn't change that attitude. And we are taking that attitude that we didn't change into a new direction. We need work. So it starts with us. Nothing way difficult for do for a nation that acceptance only. See, that is. I mean, say radio, somebody said, okay, Emerson say, if you think say the education is a free quality education, we'll bring you Peking. Me Peking and standards in the attend. Me National Islamic Primary School. Nobody will ever come up private school between a class throughout university. And I never share classroom with possibly from private school in bully you. Because you know the hard way that you should take grow up. And when you enter the university, you make it. So that just acceptance we need as Sierra Leoneans. All these things put together not going to mean anything if we don't implement it. And it is not going to be based on an administration. Because administrations come and go, but we stay with the people. So, one of the products of this reform, when minister don't talk, neither is neither for guiding the civil service. When you told minister, I didn't know the difference between you and the civil service servants. They are permanent. Civil servants are permanent. If they go, you left there. You know, one man I can with you, then a system, structured one, now you protected, and now they put inside. So the ones that they put on the ministry, they send on the other side. So, it is about me, it's about you. At this time, we'll get an opportunity from the Director General of the Human Resource Management Office for let me take you through key areas in this book. If we send all this book, now we'll go fast, yeah? So man first got talent when he began mathematics last period. How some man first in the way the teacher enter. His Excellency.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chair, who also doubles as the Deputy Minister of Information and Civic Education. Honorable Minister of Public Administration, my colleague, Deputy Director of Recruitment, Directors in HRMO, civil and public servants, members of the Port Estate, civil society members, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I want to thank the Ministry of Information for organizing this press briefing. I know say the medium of communication are crucial, but since this document are presented is so technical, some of the words that we use will be small. So I will try as much as possible for breaking them down, for breaking so that it's the basic, the least man will understand. The minister rightly said that we are on a reform trajectory, or they're on a program for change the civil service and the public service by extension, and the government get a minister or Ministry of Public Administration where they coordinate all of these reforms. My own part, I will talk about the civil service code. For we will know the civil service code now a document where they guide the behavior and conduct of people who they serve in the civil service. A code of instruction on personnel matters. So how are they taken through this presentation? I will do an introduction. I will state why we do the review. Then I will tell that the structure earlier of the revised code. I will talk about the major changes we don't do. Because it's a very broad document, as Mr. said. It's about 309 pages. So imagine, I just have to skim through. And then I also talk about the benefits that we expect. Some of them also, the minister already talk about them, about the behavioral change. And then we will just discuss and then ask questions. So I hope that will bear with me as I traverse through this presentation. So the Civil Service Code came into effect in 2011. Before that, the Civil Service inherit the personnel manual, what they call the general orders. I don't know how many of you now don't see the general orders or even hear about it. The general orders don't exist from colonial times. So when the reforms of the civil service started back in the early 90s, one of the objectives we government began was for change that document so that because they don't outlive the usefulness. Therefore, they also therefore transform the then establishment secretary's office to a human resource management office. So the office at the whole, before this time, it was called Establishment Secretary's Office. So this Civil Service Code belonged in existence for 2011. It will be due for review after every 5 years. But the 5th year was, I think, 2016. By then we had so many issues, we had the Ebola and other competing interests not be made government poor. So it was not done. But when His Excellency the President, retired Brigadier Julius Maada built over the limits of power in 2018. In the manifesto, I remember at the state opening of Parliament, when I mean the May 2018, he began therefore state the manifesto when he, amongst other, he made commitment that he will review the Civil Service Code, and that by 2023 the Civil Service Code will be reviewed. So that commitment will also transform into the medium-term national development plan. The medium-term national development plan 2019 to 2023, the state reviewing the service code are one of the objectives there. So, I think I will go to the next slide. Next slide, please. So, I'll talk about the current medium-term national development plan 2024 to 2030. It talks about advancing the public sector architecture. It talks about reviewing legislations and rules and how they govern the service. But apart from this political commitment, a number of emerging issues then don't make a compelling for the government to review the Civil Service Code. We see, over the years, we don't enact some laws. We get the Finance Act, we get the GUI Act, we get the Employment Act. So then laws there make a compelling also. Because the Civil Service Code of old, in general, when civil servants they resign, for example, they get no benefit. Because when the colonialists they make the civil service, they want for them to stay. And they also the same, they give quarter, they give loan. So resignation, they get benefit for. But the Finance Act of 2019, Section 29 specifically make provision for end of service when it's separated. So therefore, we don't get a civil service code, we don't speak to them laws. So if we don't try to help the GUI Act, we don't create opportunity for all the 30% of participation of women in the civil service. Then also as recruiting agencies, we also respond to that. We also get disability issues there. The civil service code not ever, even the general orders, never had anything to do with disability. And we know that disabled people are also part of our society. I mean, disability don't mean inability. So therefore, we look at the civil service code in view of all of these changes to ensure that we review them for every match. Yes. So you see that the civil service code now don't try for address the issues there. So we do a lot of consultations, of course, as any policy document, where to write down all the 14 districts in the provinces, in the western area also. We did consultations, and we're able for draft them, we validate them, and then we prepare the cabinet paper, we will minister, we take to Parliament in December. And on December 18th, Parliament will therefore approve. Of course, we went through a rigorous process. There was a cabinet subcommittee, because the document was huge, so they need just go up paper. They go for paper. So they scrutinize them, we criticize them, we try for, go through a rigorous process. So eventually it was approved for the civil service or let it go back into force. So now we don't print, we don't print it, don't print for it. We copy them, and we now have the onus for popularizing. We have to popularize. We have to train people in the use of the code. We have HR officers, we get permanent secretaries, we get professional people. All of what is in this book, they are affected. So they need to understand what's inside this book. They want to say the public, we're supposed to hold it accountable. But there are issues here we people do with whistleblowing now. We never done it. We public or members of the public raise issues about civil servants and import. This has never been part of the civil service code. So whistleblowing about impropriety, all of it is part of this code now. But as they go through the code, we are able for grasp and see and say it's a document for the public, not only for the HR but for the entire public. So the previous civil service code had 13 chapters. Now this civil service code has 16. So the areas I highlight are the new chapters. Some chapters were merged. Some chapters we collapsed into one. For example, leave was disaggregated. There's certain areas where you get for maternity leave, then you get other areas where you do study leave, another area where you do no pay leave, or special leave. Now the leave has been collapsed into one chapter. So if you go to the chapter at 11, you will see all the leave. Okay? And then we also have created an area where we address disability and occupational health. Because occupational health is an emerging issue. Now the world, people they go work, they forget a safe environment. If you work, you don't forget injury, you don't forget sick now in the place. Sick you don't put like us, you don't forget take an out place. So for ensuring the workplace also healthy. So these are all emerging issues in HR. So we try for good in the civil service code. And then we talk about work ethics. I mean, it's very important. I mean, the issues there, we'll talk about what it's a big one. When we talk about how we carry ourselves. We are servants for gift service. We should be prepared to render service to the public. I mean, without any fear of people. We dress code, the way we communicate, is all in that ethics chapter. And then we get the gender mainstream. We basically drawn from the GB Act. It takes us to there because we don't have the civil service code coincide or conflict with any existing laws. So all the existing laws then we look at them and then we incorporate them. So basically, and then the last aspect of the administrative manual, when I just the forms they use. So basically, if you go to the screen, go off. Let me just go ahead. Okay. We'll start eating and then we just show like the new code we talk about the 14 grade system. You can just so that people can see. The new civil service code the code we talk about 17, although we actually operated 14 grades. But this civil service code is very now definite. I will not categorize the grade 7. So people in grade 14, we call them super scale. Those in grades 10 to 13 are senior management. Grade 7 to 9, when middle level management. And 4 to 6, junior officers, and then 1 to 3 support officers. So, in the area of recruitment also, most of the provisions have stayed, but one area I want to look at was that we are in a very small society. All of us are related to one another. So we have a clause where they say the post committee for avoid or post spouses at the same duty station. So for example, I'm married and in a civil service. I don't really as Director General, I'm working as Deputy Director General or whatever. I mean, you don't go other way. So we are looking at those instances. I know say some organizations get that kind of provision. If you have a spouse or close relative. And then in the civil service code, we have also defined what's a close relative. It could be your wife, your mama, your papa. You don't mean say your relative not be employed, but you and your relative not work one person, one station. If you work in one ministry, or not one station, for example, Ministry of Health station, but then in a public health today, maybe spouse now, a medical doctor or what have you. So you have to distinguish all of those things. And then we don't say also that the induction, we don't reduce the induction period. Before this time, the civil service, when we join, we do 3 years of induction. We do 3 years of probation. Yes. So, and we don't realize the civil service, we for time for induction. When we take people them, we just send them out. So they go without any orientation. This whole civil service would say now for actually induct everybody, let that be one person. Before tell them what are the rules. Because most people come into the workplace, they don't get what we call a work culture. They don't get work culture. So my job is to you're working at any time. So now you already start talk about biometric time and attendance and all of it. So the orientation is also important because they create that work environment and work culture in the mind of the employee. We also don't say that, of course, when you retire or when you disengage in accordance with the Finance Act, if you do 1 year, you are entitled to end of service benefit, and it's 1 month's gross salary. So if you 1 year, 1 month gross salary. So it's easy. So you don't need for you don't need for force. You work till you retire, you can left. So when people 1 year, 2 years, decide to explore other opportunities. So there's privilege also people to go into the civil service. Right? And to force them, go to the civil service, but let them take you above grade 7. Not easy. They go to call graduate entry. All graduates start at that level, and then you go up. But now we recruit people at the level, the 12, as it is going to be. It's not possible because we don't create lateral. We call it lateral entry. So these are all reforms for making civil service more flexible. And again, the salary structure and allowances, we don't entirely now remove them in the civil service code. It's no longer the business of the Director General because we have now a wages and compensation commission. So the wages and compensation commission now they get the mandate for determining pay across the whole public sector architecture. But we recommend the reintroduction of notches system. Before this time, civil servants had notches. So for example, if I come grade 1, I get several notches. For example, if I go grade 1, I will start on level 1, then I move. If I not get promotion, I get increment every year based on the performance. But now I only get 1 band. So if you're in grade, if I start grade, you'll be there forever until you're promoted. So now we still introduce the notches system so that if you are there, we also relate to performance to the grade. And then also we don't start to standardize certain practices there, like normally civil servants, because of the unavailability of vehicles, civil servants use their private vehicles. So at times government they assist with fuel. So we have made it very clear that in a grade 7 and above, people that are in grade 7 and above, where they use their private vehicles for do the day-to-day duties of government, to 5 liters of fuel, and of course that's also subject after every year they will inspect for 60 auditors will check for 60 years. Indeed, that's the vehicle and it's registered. And of course, the other arrangements, people that will get by, so they use for dispatch. These are all people who can also benefit from, based on the availability of funds. Because in some cases, we know some ministries are constrained. They don't get more people get pushed. So maybe they might not have 45. So you go actually, and so they people say. But also there that depends on the availability of a budget. Right? So that's the caveat. And promotions, of course, we don't say it's based on merit, and that we will say that people will be doing skills development, and we will prepare people for playing the roles in higher jobs. So if you are being promoted, for example, from deputy secretary to permanent secretary, we know that's a very big leap. We need to prepare you, give you orientation, and do some professional training to ensure that you prepare the role of permanent secretary. And again, the maternity leave, we also take the cue from the GUI Act. The maternity leave over than 12 weeks, but the GUI Act says now it will be at least 14 weeks. That has been now also reflected in the code. We also get maternity. Yes, very interesting. Yes. So before this time, if we talk about gender issues, about man and woman, not to just woman, so man themselves also take care, or take part in child care. So the civil service code for the first time has introduced under rule 6.59 maternity leave, where the husband in day away for 14 days for help for care. So that was a popular suggestion, and when we went around the country, everybody agrees say we forget maternity, not only maternity. Then chapter 8, performance management. I don't go people, I don't go to for itself. Performance management, we know now way for access. I mean, I can we get way for most civil servants accountable also. So we don't just want to remove, they don't get nothing for way for access them. So that performance management tool has been introduced. We know say president they sign performance contract with ministers. Ministers too they sign contract with the public servants. So in the civil service, for example, the head of civil service, secretary to the cabinet and head of civil service, they sign contracts with permanent secretaries, heads of departments, professional heads, in grade level and above. They sign with the head of civil service. And then contract they draw from the ministry, the minister new contract. Then we get now the individual performance improvement system, where we the manage that and for so from grade 1 to 10, and we the manage that IPA system. And as I even they talk now, the director of there, if we go right round, because of this press briefing there, we go right for monitor all the other setting target. So at the beginning of the year, we for set target and for ensure that that target is monitored. So basically, that's that for performance management. And training, minister talk and say very important. Capacity building is so important. We have a kind of process where we make sure say we pass on knowledge and skills. So the Civil Service Training College reopened in 2012, and we get a plan now for the Public Service Academy. So that Public Service Academy will meet the training needs of the entire public service. So the Civil Service Training College, we don't, for the first time, they don't got a Civil Service Code now. It's part of the Civil Service Code. It talks about the board, the Civil Service Code for Civil Service Training College for a board for manager. And then if also get a committee where for look at the training needs, training plans of all the civil servants. And we also don't get cabinet also approved that ministries, 30% of ministries and training votes, they for centralize them for civil servant training. So for them and the Civil Service Training College for training, because we know we get problem with funds at times. Training is always giving, well, I don't say, part of our world, we need to pay attention to training. If I want there's budget cut, the first thing they say for cost my training. So we need training. Because people will learn on the job. But training, I can tell you, it's so important. I mean, it's because of training that all of us don't have much to step. Training we don't do over the years, government. So we set the obligation for training. So that 30% that will be school for the training vote of all MDAs to ensure that they provide for the training needs of the service. And then we also get chapter 10 talk about foreign service personnel, people are really served and foreign service also get in the regulation. So it talks about postings, and the postings of all foreign service personnel and the Director General of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs will do a consultation with the administrative officers postings committee. Because most of the staff in the foreign postings, they belong to the administrative cadre. So that should provide for. And then we also get a provision we make. First step, when you are in the foreign service, if they will pay for you picking child allowance for education, picking up for residence, you first. But we look and say it's not fair because you have certain stations that are difficult, and also stations in terms of language barrier. You don't want you picking the other land in English. I don't want to get a country where you go to speak, Portuguese or Spanish. I go for change there, go straight. So definitely, if I'm posting in a country where the language is French or Portuguese, I don't go for them to pick it down. I go let them go now sideway, they go learn English. So we don't say now that if you begin not even teach them, if you don't assign, once a child the other 18 years, he or she will be entitled to support. Not everybody with you. Because not all sides you go in the beginning. So that has been actually provided for. They will also make a provision for spouse allowance. That people, foreign service personnel, most times, so the spouse is very open. When you are posted, even if you're a lady, your husband, your wife, they don't allow you for work. So you have to depend on the salary of your spouse. And most times, that money will be for sustain. So now we say that for spouses who are there not working, government should provide spouse allowance. The only thing, when your spouse not with you, you are entitled to that allowance. So that's and then of course clothing allowance also, because the foreign service gets certain expectations because you are representing CIO, so therefore you should be presentable in a way that at least internationally you can be also reckon with. So, and then we also get a chapter of provincial administration. We realize that the civil service code has never had any provision for provincial administration. The bulk of service delivery in this country, like the province is there. And we don't need local councils. The local councils are there, they have their own money. But even when the local councils are there, we also have civil servants who belong to the permanent PPC, who they represent the civil service in the presence of the provincial secretaries, the district officers, and also even staff of professional staff, ministries of health, ministries of social welfare, they all have staff that are deployed in the province. We need to have a way for managing them because they constitute a significant proportion. We cannot leave them out. So, because most times when I go around, when I do civil service school, when I do outreach, most of the complaints are that people in the provinces, they feel so neglected. And they are close to the service, they deliver the service. So, we don't design a chapter, we will try for look at this provincial administration, what will be the entitlements there. Because most times they travel on tracks very frequently. And at times they don't even have vehicles on very rugged roads. And they sustain injuries in the course of actually executing their duties. So all issues have been looked at, but ensure that the administration also gets its due. And then chapter 12, I talk about disability issues there. Disability, occupational health and safety. Of course, we don't say disabled people are also entitled to be employed. Disabled people are also entitled to be employed in the civil service. We don't make provision for the fact that when you advertise jobs, disabled people who get the qualification will be entitled to the same right as people that way normal because disability is not inability. Then we will also make provision for not getting a friendly disabled environment. If you have a disabled person, you can get support for them to participate in the workplace. I remember one of these schools, Leone and rule. So you get people who they fine. They can discover that they fine for this. They get short sight. They bring them in front of the class, and so teachers they do. I remember those days. Who go to public school? So they sat in the front because they need a refer or they say they are short sighted. They say can't afford. So these are the things we are also looking at. That in the workplace, we should give support to people with disability. They also get rules that are going to look at also injury. If you get injury in the course of the discharge of your duties, you are supposed to be taken care of. You don't put those there because the rules have decided that people with sustain injuries, some are not going to work in normal, but they will face it every disabled. So we should be able to take care of these people until they actually show that disability not going to allow them to continue the work, and that will separate them. And will separate them with the full benefits. So that's it for social security, and then work ethics. I spoke a little bit about that. Conflict of interest there, where civil servants' interests are competing with their personal interests. We have to so safeguard that civil service is a public institution. Your business is to serve. So, for example, if I go on a panel now and interview, I'm not saying you're ready to be my sister, my brother. I will refuse myself from that interview panel because it might be interpreted as prejudice. Then if I get business, I don't register business, and I also am a board controller or a procurement officer. All of these are conflicts of interest. We work very closely with the Anti-Corruption Commission for getting them vision. But when you read the document, you will see most of the details there. But the point is that they try for safeguard, excesses of civil servants and also make them accountable, so that they know their interest will conflict with the public interest. And then, interestingly, we introduce whistleblowing. Whistleblowing is like when you try to raise some wrongdoing, at the workplace, so they have to fine. So just what's on top of it. If you declare you are anonymous, if you don't let them know your identity, you report to the head of department, to the director general, your minister said, as the case may be. Because a lot of wrongdoing can happen, but they talk about that, or when they pay for talk about that. So if you're a member of the public, see somebody do something all right, for trouble. Then civil servant said, say member of the public do something we don't do for the civil service, for the public, for the public service. It raised up. So this chapter, they address the issue of whistleblowing, conflict of interest, and then work ethics. Work ethics is about how we dress, how we handle correspondence, and that if you how we communicate. We get the right to access information. Commission. We work to them very closely because they have this public disclosure, public information available to them. So we don't provide, we don't say, okay, there has to be control, because every ministry gets a department, they get a permanent secretary, they get head of department. So, but before you divulge any information to the press, you have to have that permission, so that at least no one you are sneaking information into the social media. Normally, it causes a lot of embarrassment, because that has become the order of the day. So we talk about also, if you ask for information, the right to access, if 15 working days for provide that document. If the ministry or department not provide that document or information, then they can report. That will be a matter of discipline. Except where it's a classified information. Of course, information we get for hidden security, those ones are not public domain. So we don't know about classification of information. We have classified information that is not for the public domain. Of course, we go to security and other issues related to sensitive, or issues that will come to be one for no hospitals and recruit, whether they are recruits, whether they recruit. It's not a secret document. So these are the things I'm talking about. So whistleblowing is part of it, and again, the gender mainstreaming, one decided with my sister, she will talk about the gender mainstreaming, so I'm going to present the chapter, my sister will talk on that, and so I will skip that side, and discipline, of course, is a whole chapter now. The discipline is also very important, because 90 days land. If you bite, then they will never take it seriously. So we don't introduce the system. We have a list of disciplinary actions that we don't identify. For further that, mostly people they find it difficult for tapping people. So now we don't make it easier. We don't get a list of all offenses. For example, if you are coming to work, if somebody is absent for 4 days, if somebody uses foul language, they abuse all sorts. We don't try to map all the offenses. Now we don't put it in the code, and we don't put it in the prescribed.
I also remind
the prescribed punishment for this, because really the discipline, as I say, is one thing that really is affecting us. Because if we don't forget a society that is just and accountable, we have to be disciplined.
Thank you very much.
Yes. So separation. The last chapter has to do with separation. Actually, it's about now saying that you can resign. I will resign. I'm entitled to benefit.
Thank you very much.
Yes, I'm running up. If you resign without, when you are indebted or you are under disciplinary action, read accelerated resignation. Okay? So the rest of it actually is the administrative manual where you can inform them. So that if you read them, you see what's available. But again, let me just end by let's talk about the benefits of this civil service school. One, the civil service school we don't realize government aspiration as embedded in the Middle International Development Plan. They would expect it to increase because this act now will therefore recruit and promote women and disability, people with disability for protecting the right. They will improve service delivery, they will improve work ethics, they will motivate the workforce for improved productivity, they will improve transparency and accountability, and of course, they will increase popular participation at the local level with the inclusion of a brand chapter on the local provincial administration. So on that note, this is basically what the code is about. We just summarize them in a nutshell. I want to thank you all. Well, if I'm instead going to would have this presentation does not last for at least 45 to 1 hour. At least an hour. Normally. And I think I did less than that. Okay. Thank you so much for your attention and patience. And I thank you.
I want to plenty thank you on behalf of everybody who don't listen to you. It is a marvelous job. Whosoever the civil service code of conduct may affect knows that a lot has gone into this work. You are not going to understand what thing they do if you don't affect you. But one thing I appreciate from the two speakers is when this ministry was created and when the mandate was given to the minister, some critic, what did they say? Well, now the civil service, their job, they don't can't take that. They have HR know their work. now the ministry they can't take. PSC and job, now the ministry they can't take. But the synergy, the minister actually say, the work where they do, one of the outputs, now this, meaning there is collaboration. They are not duplicating any job. Somebody is enhancing what this other person for do. For make sure say the end product gets a national outlook. Just guide this process, but everybody know in limits that at this for do, now this person is responsible for this. The minister end purpose that we work in outputs line at this. And this not only a purview, it gives somebody else for wrong with you. So the one way the thing say this ministry, they conflict with HRMO or PSC. No. In this session, we don't get it clear that these people get defined roles. Just like when some people can conflict, NAMED, the National Monitoring and Evaluation Directorate, and Audit Salon. M&E is not audit. Or some people know they delve into waiting this person is supposed to do. It just works up the 2 hours. Usually, one tell me plenty thank you, and I hope so we all understand how they run it out to me. Before now, you know the British man then waiting every Friday. 2011, they do something. Wait for review every 5 years. So 2016, they were supposed to review this. It didn't happen. So that in itself tell you say, that process we don't delay. That process we for don't happen. But now it don't happen. There's a lot of reform. And the icing now that there's a ministry now where they coordinate or the superintendent waiting for gold. Because if Nigeria don't want to sit down, they say that they prepare this thing. You will say that they just run for fit or for suits themselves. But there's a ministry where they coordinate. And you don't take them to this level. Plenty work, I don't go into. And the reason why we already look at reforming the public service sector, public service. When I see what's happening, from where did you start for talk? I just click off. Now only in public service can happen. Private sector, they don't encourage any. Who is responsible for that thing? It knows that the responsibility. And it makes sure it take them to the latter. Those details, already pay attention to in public service. 90 point all the book. That's just the difference between public service and private service. Public sector, private sector. Private sector, let's say, I don't go work per day. I was home, the boss called me, where are you? I said, don't you know today is Ramadan? He said, yes, it's Ramadan that pays you. I said, why are you talking like that? He said, if you don't come to work, do you know it will cost you your job? Address, I work. But I mean, public service. Did you call me and say, go work? Did you say, no, say, the civil service code of conduct? And not talk so. But I didn't quote any provisions. They just tell me saying, what if you do so it will cost you a job? Because you already forgive extra. I went there. So in the public and private sector, now those things, how we commit ourselves to job. I'm very much happy when they do these things straight. No, all understand. And now there's a Bible. Because from what we don't announce any code of conduct, but they will always quote it, the PS, and they quote it. You don't get it. Junior staff self, they quote this thing, I don't get it. And as a quote, you post it, because you don't get it. Now I have it. Yeah, I'll read it. At this point, we always look at the gender issue. So now we'll talk to Deputy Director for let me just tell me waiting they expect as women from this reform. Thank you.
At the end this afternoon, they represent the women then at the civil service. For long, we got to anticipate this particular book. Because the one way be there, now in principle, will not be get some for make reference to. So on behalf of the woman them, now the civil service, we want to say thank you to the drafters and the approvers of this book, especially the Director General, the Minister of Public Administration and Political Affairs, and the Director General of Human Resources Management Office. Because we the woman, now we are partners in development. No nation, no day will go thrive without the involvement of a woman. And for long, we don't be left behind in terms of leadership positions. We agree. But with the approval of this code, we know say it will change. Because now we guess that we say we will hold them accountable. Because we are a male-dominated society, we live. They don't live behind before we for long. But we aspire say we will meet them one day. And the leadership going to show the commitment for say they will give you what they aspire for. Because conscious efforts are on the way for ensure say woman them voice now the civil service will be heard, the representation, the participation in meaningful. Now that they make, then give we one whole chapter when at the chapter 14 of the Civil Service Code, they dedicate them for ensure say they achieve the 30% or more where the woman they clamor for. And for right now, when promotion they go on, with the woman them, we expect say it inside the code. Say interview selection panels, woman them for the day. Not all male dominated. Because other go able champion woman issue past woman. Now woman will champion woman issue. So now we expect say 30% representation of the interview panels woman for the day. So that we hope for secure with 30% quota where they say. And even when they review for promotion, now that MDAs there. The code say, therefore take into account 30% when it comes to review for promotion, transfer, even reassignment procedures and representatives. We then ensure say, then decision a day, they will reflect the 30% quota. When they say, when they put in this book, the code. And for achieve that, inside the code, they also say, we go get for put or establish gender mainstreaming committees, and MDAs them. Yes, we will monitor the progress across MDAs on the implementation of what they don't put inside this book. Also, this committee, not only for monitor, therefore ensure say gender-related provisions, they maintain them and they achieve them. Able for produce the data, we will get for producer. Recruitment, promotion, deployment, transfers, and maternity leave. First term, na 12 weeks, as my boss said. But now, na 14 weeks. And that 14 weeks, they serve. Side day back when we boss don't touch small, we get to apply 30 days, 30 work, the 30 days, calendar days, to achieve that 14 weeks. So now, addition. We're glad for that. But all of this, what we dey talk, we get seen the way they affect we as women them. When this code, they are the try to prevent them. When a sexual harassment, we want go before. We want join with my counterparts them in decision-making processes, but we get in the way they limit me. See the like sexual harassment. And that day, it prevalent at the workplace. Now, this code also don't tell me how we for channel that complaint in case it affects me. Then we get discrimination where unconsciously that it happen to we the woman that we want to go before. But we get stereotypic ideologies where they limit we not for go before. Then a safe positions where they say woman are not competent for hold certain position. We want tell them now say we self will only go before. So this 30%, it not only limits we to what they done, therefore consider the upper positions as well. So that all self the way they put the issues at the table, we will go for represent we colleague woman, we company woman in the civil service. Sexual harassment, it can happen verbally, non-verbally, or physical contact. If that day can happen, sometimes there's some boss and say, well, I know they recommend you for promotion if you don't agree for me. It happen, Boko. So now, we want to forget that silent majority for telling me what they happen. So we get the channel where we say, for let people that they complain that day. We get the immediate supervisor if that day happen to you, because you know, go just grab the life person and say, they don't do me this way, you don't get evidence. So we get the immediate supervisor. We get the gender focal person or the gender mainstreaming committee who will go for set up like every MPA. Then we get the HR officers there. Then we get the administrative head of MBAs, where all of these ones that don't look into the issues, they will now forward on to the Director General for look into the matter. So we want to tell Boku Tenki appreciates this law because it not be they enforced. So now, even when they look at postings committee, they get 30% on their mind because they know say when the postings committee go pull their postings, we go there somewhere and calculate whether we achieve the 30%. Where ministries in the same promotion will check whether they achieve the 30%. Because right now, we call it the day in New York or the Convention on the Status of Women, Beijing plus 30. And after the Beijing Declaration in 1995, waiting and say the woman never achieved. So right now, the day of the discussion. So we hope say the Human Resource Management Office, when the environmental managers of the civil service will take into consideration all of these laws for able to protect before that they implement the laws there, the policies there. So they're very key, and we send them Boku thank you for them to be the platform. Thank you.
I don't begin support the woman. I don't begin support the woman. They know point. I tell you, plenty thank you for the optimism. Now, what did you say? There's a document. Not just that oral talk. Document it now, where they refer to. For know whether what they do is right or inalright. With respect to gender. Promotion, deployment, first thing we just talk. But now again. And for put this inside this document shows the consistency where the president gets. First, it's a hands off the gas, If they prepare for something, did you react calm? And they say you, when are speaking, don't pull chest. You don't reach 18 you want to give her away in marriage or you want to marry her. When you come here, you show you don't want to be by the program. You don't commit crime. You will go there for most snap. That crime. You will video with your phone self. That program will be in. Next time find out say you're not 18, but now you snap. Yeah, I was like a shameless lady. Finally, after all that, they don't put the issue inside the code of conduct. When they say sexual harassment, don't use that one where they ask you. Man said where they ask you. Read it. Read the procedure for their complaint. Not to the normal, somebody say was Hannah's friend, if you say, I get back. You shame for the company. So, there is a document. Now, we don't talk a lot. The people who own the session are to the long canal. Another person where they ask agriculture question, biology class. Yeah. Wait till they don't talk. It's too much. Now ask question I have. Wait till they teach I have. If you get agriculture question, wait till the agriculture teacher can. Yeah? I just caution. One person, one question. One person, one question. The one we don't hear, I'll take the first question. DG or the minister, can you provide an update on the status of PIN codes for healthcare workers who will continue their duties after MSF? When MSF don't close, what will happen to the healthcare workers when they will left there about PIN code issues? Waiting at the current status of offering PIN code to healthcare workers, continuing tasks implemented by development partners for government of Sierra Leone. Then healthcare workers, where they act on or for or on behalf of development partners, they don't deserve PIN code. What is going to happen to them? I want to know why the head of finance is in grade 10 and head of procurement is grade 9. Are they not supposed to be in the same grade as heads? You see? Some I don't read the book, sir. This person is head of finance, this person is head of procurement. This was in grade 10, this is in grade 9. You see why? These are questions that we come from outside. Note, they will come to the stars of the show. First 5 questions. Direct questions. No politics. Straight to the question. Yeah? Biology for biology. Chemistry for chemistry. No, welcome now. You say, when I say 30%, all the hands are up are man-handed. So I pick 5 now. It's time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One question.
Mohammed Kamarasa of the Washington paper. Director General of PCLM. I refer you to chapter 13 and chapter 15, where deal with chapter 13, work ethics, conflict of interest, whistleblower. Chapter 15, discipline. Then come back to reform trajectory where many people have been to say, and also a lot of people to Obama be saying, we care for this issue, your life will show them or go ahead with the world. Now take this as an example, sir. HRMO issued a retirement notice to somebody, a very senior officer in the seed multiplication program of the Ministry of Agriculture. Some of I'm not without. It's supposed to retire on the 4th of October 2024. The person in question, the personnel in question, applied to His Excellency the President of the Republic of Sierra Leone for prolongation, which, as an investigative journalist, the President never granted him the so-called prolongation. The person in question transferred the seed multiplication office from Freetown to Bo, which was used to be housed at the Ministry of Works at England. The person in question withdrew a bank account on January this year, where supposed to go retirement, where I get all the bank account at 30%. Yes, sir. Just like what Francis Gatola talks say, the civil servants has to respond to corruption. That only God will help Mama Sawi for save Sawi from corruption. Is it that same? with all this is perfect with. Excuse me, sir. All this is perfect. All this is modern. All this will be accepted by the outside world. But the disciplinary side is, what if you continue for people like this gentleman, who we expect you right now, or take an action for a short say, HRMO directive come to reality. Thank you, sir.
Ibrahim Sagasisi, Voice of Salon Radio. DG sir, you talk about the employment areas more seriously. But let me take you back in the area of post workers. And year in, year out, and it don't be more relevant issues with the audit report they pick on, and also we don't read. And how they go about through this new code of conduct and regulations, how they go about for able city, the ghost workers, no they again, and how we able to give you update about people that we government employed na the government sector.
Mahmoud Silla is my name from the Nature newspaper. The question goes to the Minister of Public Administration and Political Affairs. Mr. Minister, we know the government of President Bio to be the law-abiding government. So, as a result of that, I want to tell the listening public the laws that empowers you as a minister or prevent the traditional media. One of the public engagements that you get Bufis Hotel. Which law will prevent you? Say only bloggers are in for cover that program.
Mr. Minister, and I don't place up for close some institutions and women of them say they do similar work. The president, the constitution gives rights, privileges for established institutions. The institutions they want to merge or close. I want to know if institutions the way president established, and one, and two, HRMO, how many civil servants will get in the country? Thank you.
I'm Edward Sure, Galaxy Radio, and now here Times newspaper. The minister. Yes, thanks. Mr. Minister of Political and Public Affairs, of course, Public Administration. Of course, your ministry be established under the revamp of public service sector, right? Now, this has to do with integrity. I want to know how much they uphold integrity in terms of professionalism, as we don't talk about public service, that of civil service, as then at the backbone of government. Recently, we see what happened in Parliament, where misprofessionalism occur. At the end of the day, we see there is state a particular official. So waiting how much or waiting what they do for maintain integrity and professionalism. Then secondly, vision. Just one more. Okay, so and again. And again, for Director of Judiciary, I want to know how much that they embrace participation. Yeah, particularly now where the world don't be involved into the public institutions with that technology. Thank you very much.
That's the last question.
Thank you very much. I think update on pin codes, grading. I will let and get the DG. The brother they talk about seat multiplication project. Asking the Director General of HRM, SMP not to a civil service institution, a public service institution. So it not fall under the jurisdiction of the Director of HRM. The man was appointed by the President. So it's the prerogative of the President for either doing extension or not for doing extension. So that would have started to the President. Huh? Yeah, but now it's not part of the seat multiplication project, not under the civil service. So when I do more investigation, for them to know who is responsible for waiting happen. Because when you reach 60 and that's it, right? Let not forget. 2 letters they come out. One they come out from NASIT for telling you don't 60 years, according to the data, and then they stop your contribution to NASIT and they're ready for paying you benefit and your pension. That not means say they don't retire you. So there are time people take NASIT letter as a means for retire. They will do more investigation and understand who side the letter come out. I want to advise them. Somebody they talk about how do we deal with these ghost workers. They go inside the in charge of people, but as an institution, with the first pillar of the strategic roadmap of the organizational restructuring, where one of it in this year, we did do a workforce audit. The workforce audit, we want to understand who that will get inside the system, the entire public service. So it's not only the civil service. We want to know that will get inside the day, what did they do, and whose capacity they get. Because if we want to transform the civil service training college to public service academy, they will need for those first the capacity to get, and that will help you for let we know how to define the public service academy and develop a national capacity building plan for the entire public service. So that's going to be captured, and I want for them to be patient. Those information, they will affect ghost workers in its entirety. But with the continue for me, even in America, we see this very recently, where Elon Musk, they pull that list. Millions of Americans when a ghost worker, whether they receive benefit, where they're not in the system again, and they pay them. Yeah. The validation, they talk about somebody talk about the validation of the whole Nabiti money. We validate the strategic plan. Now, in that meeting, we invite bloggers separately. We invite the print media. We invite the electronic media. All of them were here. AYB was there, the cover alive. 98.1 was there. SNBC was there. We invite the newspapers, over 20. I get the media official I have with Musa Kamara there. We make sure see every category. Now the bloggers them, now the one day we minister get control over. Because again, information you have to be careful. Yeah. Now at the time, hello. Now we get bloggers them where the ministry they take care of. Yeah. What I mean, we take care of them because when we get a program, we invite them and send them there. But if we open the gate, many bloggers they go there. Wait some them, I mean pay them, I mean give them money. So yes, some money. We'll give them transport, and million money personal, and put for give it. So I think in order to get secluded bloggers also put there. But in every institution, you must get 2 or 3 people that way that you know more than this. Or people the way they deal with. When you know say they will sink you information where you want it. That's just natural. It's the natural justice. We go to somebody they talk about say if we get the authority for repeal an institution established by the president, wherein the president get the prerogative for create institution. Perfectly correct. The president has the prerogative for create institutions. That's why he give me the power as ministries that let we develop policies. If we need new institutions, let we go to cabinet and take a bill to parliament. And in the sign, and once parliament don't pass them, in the president is sign up for them to become a law. That's the procedure. The same thing with these reforms. If we feel say they are duplicating functions and mandates, if we feel say institutions, the way their policies, they do the same thing, now wastage, we make recommendations to the president. With the evidences, with the data, that Mr. President, we take it to cabinet. Cabinet and the data is so that the evidence is also say institution A, B, and C, they are doing the same thing, collecting money from the consolidated fund for do the same thing at wastage. We make recommendation for the action of the president. If cabinet say that will repeal, then we take the act and they to parliament now and ask parliament for repeal. That's the procedure. So there is nothing wrong about it. President get right for create. We self get right for recommend to president say what you create in order to do well in the country. We ask for them repeal. Yeah? And we are the representative of the president in real sector. I represent the president in the Ministry of Public Administration. So I'm the president. So I am you see Mother Bill in the Ministry of Public Administration. So anything I do is I'm doing it in the interest and representing the president. Yeah. Then somebody talk about upholding integrity and professionalism. That's why the reform is about. The whole reform is for them to build a professional workforce in this country. Let's not forget, we don't survive a 23 years one-party state. It gets the effect on the public service. We don't get 10 years rebel war. It gets the effect on the public service. We don't get 5 successful democratic elections in this country. It gets an effect on the public service. We don't get the transfer of power from the incumbent to the opposition. It don't get an effect on the public service. We don't get about 8 or 9 military coups. We have about 5 or 6 successful. They all get an effect on the public service. All that they don't affect professionalism, they don't affect integrity. Because each of those things get to your effect. So what do we do now? Let's go back to what is happening at the global stage and see how we localize them and get a professional workforce we will fit for purpose and serve the needs and aspirations of the people of this country. So yes, we are pushing for more integrity through professionalism. What happened in parliament and what not happen there is of the past. We are moving forward. But make sure that what did not happen before. The things that we make good and the day, let not day again. Because let me remind you, many people don't know, Mr. Minister, how comes the president decided to get the reform of the public service. In 2020, Madam Bio was elected as the chairman of the APRM Forum of Other States and Government. And at that year, 2022, when they set the theme for the African Union Governance Report, the theme was on the fourth industrial revolution. The president then, because he's the chair of the APRM, asked the APRM to inform the African Union that let them change that theme day and let them use the theme as unconstitutional change of government in Africa. Because at that time, who be the Africa all over the Africa? Mali, Burkina Faso, Guinea, and all the rest of it. And the president will be the one to understand what thing the push, the drivers of this coup they identify confidently. And they accept Magabi's proposal. And then they do a targeted review. 11 countries, then choose 10 were affected in Africa, then they choose Sierra Leone, we already get the experience. We don't get military coup, we don't get democratic election, we don't get transfer of power from the incumbent to the opposition. So we get the experience of them things they did. So the review report will come out and launch as Sierra Leone, and it clearly defines one of the major drivers of unconstitutional change of government in Africa and public service delivery system. And they recommend for every member state of the African Union and the APRM to undertake a reform of their public service. As the chairman then of the APRM, and we will initiate this particular review, decide say it will be the first person to start the review. So let's understand this narrative. Thank you.
Thank you again for the question. It's good that we clarify some issues, really. I think the first question was about PIN codes for MSF workers. Well, the issue of PIN codes are a tripartite arrangement. You have the Ministry of Health, the HRMO, and the Health Service Commission. So, we know say cases in the past where projects they don't phase out, they don't recommend follow up. So there are cases we don't have in the past. And this policy matter, not to be good decider. If the Ministry of Health feels MSF workers, you know, they get an important role for play in the health service delivery system, then the minister will come with a recommendation for recommended for their job. I cannot make a commitment on that, as I said, because it's a tripartite arrangement. And then of course, healthcare workers working for the development partners have made it clear. But recently there was a project under I think this IPOW has a project where they can get some health workers, where they can recommend follow up. So I think that was done. So it can be done. In fact, it will interest you for note say most of the health workers then are people who don't work on a project and then transition to the civil service. And then another question has to do with the head of procurement, the head of finance are on different rates. Well, it depends on the head of finance, it's a little bit abstract because procurement gets a cadre. So there could be a head of procurement unit, you know, just a procurement officer. You could be a head of the procurement unit, assistant director of procurement. You could be head of procurement unit and senior procurement officer. You could also be head of finance, you are an accountant, or you are a senior accountant. So it depends on the context. So it's difficult to, the civil service has a grading system based on positions. So we don't get anything like head of procurement. We have positions where maybe functionally it will be headed by a procurement officer or senior procurement officer or an assistant director, depending on the size of the ministry. For bigger ministries, we have assistant directors, senior procurement officers, and the like, even deputy directors. So it depends on the context. And then this question about seat multiplication, it's rather unfortunate. I mean, we don't understand how the HRM are not responsible for every public sector. The city multiplication is a project. I mean, it's under the Ministry of Agriculture. It doesn't fall within the purview. So we know not to retire them. We know they handle the business. As the minister rightly said, it's an agency. This is subvented. It's on its own. And then the issue of ghost workers also, whether the code made provision for it. Well, again, I mean, we don't talk about no. So the service, we have now a system where every salary, every employee is paid in his or her bank account. So if in some countries, they don't even talk about ghost workers, they talk about invalid data. Because once the salary goes to an account, it can be traced. There's a trail. So therefore, the business now is that supervising officers in MDs now therefore report. So in the civil service code, we have a section, we have a provision which says that a supervising officer who does not report an unauthorized absence would have committed an offense. It's in the code. So that's how we do it. So and then now we, as Mr. rightly said, want to do head count. We need to do head count periodically. I mean, audit, when audit goes around, audit they do head count for ministries. But you know, of course, I mean, that is not comprehensive. But if we do a comprehensive head count countrywide, I think we'll be able to bring out a lot of information for people who might have abandoned. But really, it's the responsibility of the supervising officer. We, as an HRMO, we just exist in Freetown. We just exist in Freetown. We're not the whole side. If our ministries, we have HR officers in ministries who report to us. So what's important is that supervising officers, when somebody abandoned, we not dig, they for report. And when they report, we make sure that those things are struck up in the road. And if we discover any impropriety, we always get a way for go back and recover. So what is the issue is that also disclosure. As you say, public also disclose. If you know of somebody, when they work, when they're at the road, you can write. If you don't answer for anything, you write anonymously. Write to the minister, write to me. Say, I know say first year and civil servant, they work, but you know they impost. You can write and send the information. That's all the way for engage. That's why we spoke about public disclosure. It's not about managing. We know the all side for everybody. I know now I know say a worker in Kabbalah has abandoned his post. I will not know. I don't have that magic. But if what comes to me, I think my business is to take action. So that's why we're encouraging more people to be proactive and the public also to be involved. So the of course, we're talking about 22,000, including the correctional service service is very small. Health workforce is about half of it. The actual civil service, apart from health workers, is about just 5,000 to 6,000. We have a very small mandate. So teachers, for example, the police, they do not fall on an above. I only deal with civil servants. So most times it's very misleading. If you say when they are general, oh, I need to charge of the entire workforce in the country. No. That's what it is. So it's good for the law getting forum here. And when I say when a journalist, it's good for you to propagate the correct information. Because that is shows they engage with, they try to inform the public. And then in terms of with technology, we spoke about digitalization. That minister talked about the HR hub. One of the things we want to do is to digitize. If we digitize the system, it will reduce. Digitize, it gets trade. So we get the HR hub, and then once that is done, the other aspect, because currently the payroll is computerized, but then the other aspect of the HR management needs to be computerized to support the payroll. Okay? So thank you. Yeah.
Seek clarity for tomorrow headlines. The minister talked about owning bloggers, and perhaps there's misconception. Let me make this clear here. Even in Munawe Sidoya, there are some other journalists out there who feel say we're very selective for get one another. Me, they don't knock, and me do more, they don't talk. They want come, they allow them, this and that, and a few people there. In fact, people interpret it differently. But you cannot open the space for everybody because it gets cost implication. So like I can say, these people here are our own people. Because when they come here, they get a tier, they get expectations on after they are waiting there for you. So it's not every journalist just walking into this press conference and allow us, wait time done. What are you coming now? What are you coming now? What are you in we're going to different thing. If I say 1 plus 1 are 2, we're going to say the deputy minister say 1 plus 1 4. Just because it's not map line. So that is what the minister meant by saying we get with bloggers. These are based. They get they inside the database. You reach out to them when you get functions, and I get a mutual understanding. That's it. No, not a system. You said it's in a system. Secondly, about what happened in Parliament. The only people who passed Parliament, now when I was the people. But minister, he says they're not going to make that bluff. Say Parliament, and they go there for go correct something. In fact, they correct you. When you get one match, when you enter another, they have the right, constitutional right for even to tell you. So now only the people, they represent a bulk majority of Sierra Leoneans and the power they get. 3 arms of government. Now 1 arm, now you no more get right for call incompetent. You see they say Parliament don't call the Chief Justice. Chief Justice will just grab, he call Parliament. But Parliament they call Chief Justice. Parliament they call Minister, who are the executive people. So that is how they are powerful. So issues there can be addressed by the people. But we all, not one person is minister. You want to call it a Parliament, it did the whole day. Now the problem you want here. So these issues should be clear. You know somebody, you know limitation, not be a problem. We will be a problem. So we don't exhaust time. 3 minutes, I don't want to go above. So I just want to take 2 questions, please. Now let me take from your party. Now woman now, my first will be get woman. Thank you. 1. Every that one.
Hello, my name is my question is for Deputy Director. You made mention of the sexual harassment. So I just want to know if there is a phrase that clearly states the punishment, because the gravity of the punishment is what's going to stop it.
Thank you very much. My name is Amos Marshall Taiwali, aka the Microphone Vandalist. And I report for Master TV, Free Radio, and Eyewitness News. I want for tell us say flabbergasted for getting the opportunity for us. When you talk about, I want to direct the question to the minister. You make mention of one of the pillars of the big 5 game changers of His Excellency the President. One of them is to revamp the public sector. But I want to bring you into the minimum salary or the minimum wage as I It is evidentially clear that sometimes you will see somebody, like for example, a honorable, they receive and they assume way above 30,000. But that teacher, when teach that honorable, they receive a minimum wage of perhaps 1,200, 1,300. As a minister, we bent on the trajectory for revamp the public sector. How best una go do for ensure so una close the disparity with it between the minimum wage and CIO. Thank you.
Sexual harassment, as I earlier on said, now an act of misconduct. We're eligible for disciplinary action by the civil service leadership. But nonetheless, in this act, it specifies the procedure where you explored for complaint about sexual harassment in the workplace. And it all entails in the chapter 14 of the Civil Service Code. But I can read a certain portion. The formal grievance EDS procedure is as contained in chapter 15 also, where there's a whole chapter on discipline. And it also says informal grievance procedure include conciliation, mediation, or counseling in order to resolve complaints, and shall be used only where allegations are reasonably in a less serious nature and the alleged perpetrator is willing to stop the act. So there is a whole lot of, a whole chapter we dedicated to redress sexual harassment in the workplace, because we want a friendly work environment for women then for succeed. That's why on this note, I encourage all women at the civil service for read and pay attention to this chapter 14 of the Civil Service Code and rules.
Yeah, thank you very much. In terms of minimum salary wage, it's under the Ministry of Labor. They deal with minimum salary wage. Now I think, let me rephrase what you want to talk about. You talk about the salary disparity among public service. So, and that you ask. Because if you talk about minimum salary wage, I will drop the mic down. It's not my job. It's the Labor Ministry, Cabinet and Parliament and the responsibility that they. But when you talk about disparity, that's why, again, that's the reason for the reform. Now we get the Wages and Compensation Commission. And the Revenue Director General said they don't shift. Now nobody negotiates salaries without the wages and compensation. After the war, we get a lot of project implementation units where they be established, where donor partners they be established. Because they be say after the war, we not get good public service, the ministries they not good again. So then PI, then donor partners, when they count the money, they say they create agencies for themselves for implement and use their money. After winning money done, they ask the government for absorb their institution and deal with their liabilities. So then PIs, the most of them, they transit them into institutions. And I really will tell the Director General said talk about that. So they absorb them with all the liabilities. They create them commissions, agencies, and other things then.
Now they absorb them with the liability, meaning the salary they get under them donor partners, and then carry it inside government. And because of that, we get disparity. Yeah. So it don't go over a time. That's why they say now, let we do the regrading system. So you really want them not do the regrading system now. Don't under the wages and come. The next thing the WCC do now for look at every institutions and do the process and make sure say all my within a grade 9 at the same salary, regardless of who you find yourself. Now that make them create the wages and compensation commission and we say the work with them directly, because as the reforms they go, we give them the data and then the user now for do the regrading system and harmonize the salary system and the country. Yeah, thank you.
With respect to the question, the punishment, it gets stages. If Naya no more than you, the punishment different. If that person willing, in a life case now, like, willing for say, okay, I don't answer again. But if he say, because he no agree, he continue. Now in one way, he do give all the work, you always the chop at a different level. You understand? So if you yarn me as a minister and not agree, they want to send you, they do, I can let you complain. It is on either side, not to man no more, not to woman no more. I want to tell you plenty thank you for the audience, and I want to tell the panelists plenty thank you for whether you take the time, put all these things together and come present that to me. At this point, I say tata till we meet again.